Tim Jellison, who is a school board member for the Crawford County School Corporation, and he just stepped down as his seat in the president's chair. And now you can kind of wipe the sweat off and say, it's all yours now. So great to have you with us today. We've got Tanner Cox and Cody Berkla. Cody's in the advanced class and Tanner's in the beginning class here for the Crawford County Radio and TV vocational class. And they've got some questions assembled. And we're just going to turn it over here to the green room and let you guys take it off.
I am employed with the Indiana Department of Correction. I've been a correctional counselor here the last 7 years now, and that's what I do at the time being.
Oh, that sounds like fun.
What is that in detail exactly?
A counselor's job, it's kind of hard to explain without in corrections without just seeing it up front. Basically, all the institutions in Indiana are gauged by security levels. So what we counselors do is we basically monitor the classification of the offender with their sentences and at the time that they're to serve and their charges, making sure that they are located in the right security level and in the right institution.
So, what made you decide doing the job?
Didn't really aspire whenever I was growing up to work in corrections. It just kind of was one of those type of jobs that whenever basically I wasn't fortunate enough to finish college, I dropped out and started a family, and with just looking around for jobs, and the Indiana Department of Corrections, or really it's Branchville Correctional Facility, but just one place that I applied for and was just fortunate enough to become employed there.
Okay. How long exactly have you been doing this?
Well, without telling my age, I will be there 20 years here just in a couple more weeks.
Okay.
So, what are some of your previous jobs?
Well, I see. Between my summers going to college, I worked for the Department of Natural Resources. In between kind of breaks there, and before I started Branchville, I worked in for a sprinkler company, just kind of doing odd jobs here and there, and kind of working construction and until I was able to become employed at Branchville.
Sounds like a load of fun.
Well, I don't know if I would consider it that, but it was good experience.
Does your job interfere with your family life?
Right now, in the meantime, I could answer that question and say no. The unfortunate probably schedules that I've had to work in the past at Branchville. Whenever we're talking about working weekends and holidays and evenings, and there's just a lot of that because corrections in general and at Branchville, it's a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week operation that somebody has to be there, and with that, it calls for a lot of times whenever it does interfere with your family. But I can say now that I'm fortunate enough to be on a schedule that it doesn't.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, that's really good. So, do you have any hobbies or interests?
Oh, yeah, I'm definitely a sports-minded individual. I officiate a lot of sports, basically basketball, so I do that kind of on the side. Also love to play golf, and right now I just have children that are also involved in sports and school activities, and maybe it's a part of becoming old, so to speak, but I just kind of love following them in their activities.
Where around here are you from?
Well, I've lived in Crawford County all my life. I grew up on the west end of the county. Attended Patoka Elementary, and then became one of the first 8th grade class members at Crawford County. So Crawford County has been my residence all my life.
So you still live here now?
And I still do live here. I live over in the Grantsburg area. So I've just kind of been basically in Crawford County and in spots there all of my life.
What are some of your future plans?
Well, some of my future plans, I hope I make it to retirement, God willing. I'm starting kind of become a part of my time in my life whenever, retirement would be something that would be something to really look forward to. So that's kind of really my main plan now. I would say after 20 years with the Department of Corrections, that will be an occupation that I don't see myself changing. I'd like to maybe be able to advance further in that area, and so we'll just have to see how that all goes.
So, could you share an interesting story with us? What's the most interesting thing that's happened over at your job?
An interesting story. Well, that would be something that would be kind of difficult for me here just off the top of my head to come up with. Other than, right now, probably where I'm at as a counselor, we're going out into an area that's kind of a change from where corrections has been in the last probably 15 years. Now we're starting a lot of programs. I work in a unit or a dormitory now where we're doing a lot of things in terms of trying to rehabilitate offenders, and it's interesting from the standpoint in the past, we just kind of warehoused the offenders and basically made sure that they didn't break no rules, made sure that they done their time and was released into society with really nothing to go on. Where now, we're basically trying to plug them into programs and do some things that hopefully, they can get out into society and be a benefit to not only themselves but their family.
How do you think you benefit Southern Indiana?
Well, I do know that probably the most challenging thing that I have probably, or one of the most challenging things that I have decided to do here in the last couple years is be a part of the School Board of Trustees. It's been something that has been challenging, so to speak, with the funds and the resources here in the last couple years that we've had to work with, and also being able to take that and to be able to do anything for the youth of Crawford County and being a leader. And I hope that as a school board member, any decision that I make, I want to try to make sure that it's always in the best interest of the kids of Crawford County.
Do you volunteer, anything, what you do, your volunteer activities?
Well, I take an active role in the church that I attend, and also, as far as volunteers, I want to be able to be open to whatever comes my way as a school board member, whatever I just feel led to do in terms of what I think could be a benefit to not only my family and my children, but to people around in the community. A saying is, in terms of volunteers, I don't really lead any volunteering organizations, but I do try to be able to be a spokesman for the school board and just Crawford County in general.
Can you tell us a little about your family?
Well, yes. I have 4 children: Ashley, Matthew, Cody, and Chelsea. Ashley right now is really right at the very end of being able to finish her college, and she's aspiring to get a degree in elementary education. Matthew, he's right now just kind of in terms of trying to just kind of find himself and what he wants to do in terms of whether it be college or an occupation. I know it's tough for kids a lot of times whenever they hit that age. I know I was there, but I hope he decides to decide what will work out best for him. Cody and Chelsea they're both my youngest, and they are twins. They're 12 years old, and Chelsea's out here at the junior high, and Cody is still at English Elementary in the 6th grade. And so between all of my children, I do have myself kind of spread thin and with my job. So God has been good to me in terms of being able to look at my family and what I've been blessed with, and I am thankful every day for that.
That's good.
Sounds like you had a handful.
Yes, I did.
What is your mission for your activities, your goal for your activities?
Well, as far as my activities, I like I say, I do every day between, my job and my children, and then the hobbies, as we mentioned. It keeps me in my church. It keeps me spread pretty thin, so to speak. So to be able to say what my mission is for my activities, I would say to just be able to keep pace with everyone and everything around me.
What is your favorite organization?
What is my favorite organization? Well, that would be probably tough in basically saying kind of what organization you would be talking about. I would say that anything that in terms, I am, like I say, I take an active role in my church. Anything that would probably, something that would be an organization that would be uplifting to my faith, which is Christianity. I would say that would be my favorite organization.
Nice.
Okay.
How do you feel about WBRO?
Well, I think that Crawford County, I can say that I have been able to see quite a revolution in terms of what maybe people outside of the county maybe think of Crawford County. I've worked out of Crawford County all of my life, and a lot of times, we've been kind of labeled, kind of behind the times and behind maybe various counties. I think whenever you look at what Dr. Smith has been able to get established here, and with the partnership of the school corporation and what Sean Scott has done here, WVRO, we can proudly say that we're not behind counties. We're ahead of a lot of counties and a lot of school corporations. Whenever I mention to people in Perry County that we have a radio station right at our school, it really causes them to step back and scratch their heads, because they know that really we're not only labeled to be behind, we're really labeled to be ahead. And so I can proudly say that what we're doing here is something that the county and the people needs to really be proud of.
I feel proud of myself.
Well, you should.
So, I got one last question.
Okay.
If you weren't doing your job, what would you think you'd be doing?
Well, I've thought about that a lot, and probably, if I would go back, in my life and be able to do something different, I probably would say to any kids your age that's getting out of school, take your college education serious. If you're able and you're blessed to be able to go to college, take it very serious, because this day and age, whenever you can go to college and you can finish your college education and have a degree, you just are so far ahead There's so many people. You know, I can say that where I'm working at. You know, if you have a degree and you have your education there, you just got a leg up on a lot of different people, and and the doors are, there's a lot more doors that can open up for you. Probably if I would have been able to been fortunate enough to have my college degree and to be able to go on, I would have liked to been able to have the opportunity to be a school teacher, to be a basketball coach, to be something in that line. You know, I've always thought that would be where, if I had it to do all over again, that's where I would like to be. But you know, I can't look back at water under the bridge and complain. I'm just proud of where I'm at now and how that I've been blessed. So I'm not complaining.
Yeah. We appreciate you coming out here today for us.
Thank you.
It's nice having you here.
Thank you.
For those of you just joining in, we have Tim Jellison in the studio here. Tim, if you can, tell us a little bit about, you're also a Crawford County graduate, and you got to experience some of the heydays of the athletics around here.
Yes, I was very blessed to be able to be a part of history, so to speak, of Crawford County basketball. You know, you guys, some of you in the room may have not been around, maybe too young to remember, but you know, I can remember in 1980 whenever I was fortunate enough to be around a lot of very talented basketball players. I was just kind of a little piece of the puzzle, but you know, I was very fortunate enough to be on a team that we was able to win the basketball regional and play in the semi-state. We played against New Albany High School, which it was a real David and Goliath story. You know, we was the little kid on the block, you know, competing against the big bully, so to speak, and we was able to take them right down to the very last second. And you know, a lot of people will say that, you know, we hit a shot at the end of the game that should have counted, and we should have went on to the state. But you know, it was just something that I look back on. You know, I'm ashamed to say it now, but 25 years later, and and still be something that I'll cherish as a memory.
Something else I wanted to ask you, and because you came into the school corporation, you would have still went to the English high school at one point. What time did you, well, like I said, we're not trying to give away your age here, but there was a lot of controversy. How did you, you know, how can you go on now and say, being a part of the school corporation, hearing what your parents and elders were grumbling about, oh, I can't believe they're going to convert all these schools to one. Tell us a little bit about what happened back then, and what can you say now has been a development of that change?
Well, you know, as I mentioned earlier, I was part of the first 8th grade class here at Crawford County, so I was a little bit, I don't know if I would say young, but I can remember, as you mentioned, the grumbling and complaining. I can remember some of the controversy, you know, where the school was going to be located at, you know, a lot of the identity, so to speak, of the towns, English, Marengo, and Milltown, and Leavenworth, you know, and in terms of everybody coming together. You know, I can vaguely remember some of that. But, you know, whenever we all got out here, you know, I'll never forget assembling in the cafeteria, and you know, it just seemed like you was looking around, and so many students and people that you didn't know. And you know, I can say this, you know, as my daughter and my son is, you know, getting ready to come into the junior high, you know, it's been amazing in terms of how we've crossed so many bridges, and there's so much of the schools that have connected. You know, that now they know everyone. So to speak, before they even get here. And so I can honestly say that we have really made a lot of strides in terms of everyone coming together. But I can remember, Sean, you know, how that it took some time, you know, for all of the towns and the different parts of the community that, you know, had their own identity to be able to come together. But I can honestly say that now that I feel like the Crawford County High School has been able to bridge that gap.
I'll ask you a little bit more about your school corporation tenure here as on the board. You were elected and immediately took over the chair's position. Held that position for two years. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Why don't you tell us a little about something? What are you most proud of that you were able to accomplish during that 2 years?
Well, probably what I'm most proud of as anything is, it was a very it has been a very challenging time to be a part of the school board of trustees in terms of, whenever I came on and during my tenure, we was unfortunate as a school corporation not to have the minimum guaranteed funding from the state that many school boards in the past has had, and I feel like that we've been able to go outside of that, and with not having those resources to work with, we've been able to overcome a lot of obstacles. We came in and we immediately, not after a year or so, we had to be able to bargain with our teachers in terms of being able to get an agreement and a teacher's contract.
You had to pick a superintendent?
And I brought in our superintendent, resigned just right within, really announced his resignation, before I came on board. And, we had to fill the superintendent position. And I just feel like that, we've been able to overcome a lot of obstacles that, I feel like that has been something that as I look back on, I don't know how long I want to continue to be a school board member, but it's been something that I, in terms of memories, just in this short period of time, I look back on and I cherish in terms of what I feel like we've been able to accomplish. One little thing that I'm very proud of is being able to name our high school gymnasium after Ron Ferguson, who's I can remember coming through school who was an icon in this county, and it's not small, but it's something that in comparison of what you're able to do, and a lot of times people don't realize a lot of the things that goes on behind the scenes in trying to run business with what you have to work with from a financial standpoint, and in keeping. The main thing is doing what's best for the kids, and with that, I feel like that our board and our superintendent, we work well together.
Great. Anything else you'd like to add?
No, not other than I just want to thank you for having the opportunity to come out here and do something or be a part of being able to further the education of our kids, and I just want to thank you for that opportunity.
We've had an exciting chance since we developed the vocational program that we do have a couple students now who have taken this as a career choice, and who are one's at Indiana University, and the other one was a news director this past year down in Evansville, and so that's been pretty exciting to see that 3 years later that there actually, are some that have taken this. And this, like you said, was never a thought before. Melissa Swan, probably one of the only ones from our area that has ever taken this, to this vocation level. So it's been pretty exciting for me also.
Oh, that's just fantastic. As you mentioned, some of the kids that have went on and taken this, I can remember my son. Coming through here and really was just eager to be a part of it, and I'm not going to rule out him still today.
Exactly.
Trying to be able to take this opportunity that he had here and maybe use it. So
we still play his station IDs now. Matt was one of the greatest voices that I had, and that was kind of nice to be able to have that first year have some people that really had an interest in it. This was a class that had never even been here before, and so nobody even had an idea, and so it was good for some of those who had a good interest in it. So, well, we want to thank you for coming in again, and kind of sharing a little bit about you, and and how you do benefit our area, and that's why we've chosen you as a leader. So,
Well, I hope I didn't ramble on too much,
No,
but I did.
no.
Again, I want to thank you for having the invitation to come out and be a part of this. So.
great. Thank you very much. You're listening to 89.9 FM, WBRO Community Radio here for Southern Indiana.